Thanks God, it's Friday. Today is May 29. Ito po si Nico Fabian. Nandito na naman po sa programa natin, Nick Talk, The Real Talk with Nico. Welcome na welcome kayo lahat sa mga followers ko dito sa Nick Talk, The Real Talk with Nico. Especially ang mga Filipino communities, mga kababayan ko po dito sa Malaysia, particularly dito po sa Kota Kinabalu, sa Sabah po. And of course, sa mga overseas Filipino workers, huwag nating kalimutan, kumusta kayo dyan sa mga lugar ninyo po sa labas ng bayan natin. Hope everything is running smoothly. Likewise, ang mga Filipino migrants natin sa iba-ibang parte ng mundo. And huwag natin kalimutan din magkumusta. Dapat lang magkumusta tayo kasi Friday ngayon and may dalawang non-working days na naman tayo bukas at saka sa Sunday. And mga kaibigan, kababayan at kapatid ko po dyan po mismo sa bayan natin which we call our beloved Philippines. Our beloved Philippines. Okay, may mga issue tayo ngayon po I will be discussing and I will be sharing as always. I'll be sharing with you some of a few video clips po so that you will have an idea talaga po apart from hearing the news that I am or I will be giving to you po, mayroon din tayong supporting may support din ang mga natin, mga sabihin natin, mga information natin po, supported by video clips po, no? And these video clips, I got it from, of course, dyan po sa media outlets natin, mga interview dyan po sa Pilipinas, carried out by our counterparts natin sa media, no? Sa media dyan po sa Pilipinas, particularly dyan po sa Manila. Mga talk shows nila regarding ang politics dyan po sa Pilipinas. And of course, I suppose you already heard about what happens kay Senator Jinggoy Estrada kahapon po, no? Kahapon po na file na ang kaso against Senator Jinggoy Estrada po, no? But this is more on the anti-graft cases po. Hindi pa ito plunder because ang plunder is a case wherein wala talaga bail. The moment may kaso na tayo, plunder, it means you will be arrested. You'll be arrested and put to jail. And while undergoing ang trial ng kaso po, you will be detained muna po you'll be put behind bars muna. And convicted or not convicted, if convicted, then yun na po. They will bring you to another penal code, or to the penal code po sa penal jail, farm. And dyan na po mag-start ang sentence ng tao or convicted person po. In the meantime, itong mga news na rinig natin this morning na ang mayroon na po tungkol sa kaso ni Senator Jinggoy Estrada, they already, ang Sandigan Bayan, already, is it Sandigan Bayan or ang natin po, ang korte, nag-release na po ng warrant of arrest kay Jinggoy Estrada, no? And they're still waiting for a green light coming from Sandigan Bayan or from the authorities concerned to execute ang warrant of arrest. And kung plunder yon, no? Kung plunder yon, then he will immediately put to jail. But if malversation, so bailable pa yon. It is still bailable, so he has to pay ang bail po. Ang bail is mamaya na I will tell you ang bail, kung magkano ang bail ng isang tao po, kagaya ni Senator Jinggoy Estrada, yon na kaso niya po. But in the meantime, let me read you a story, a news article, a news article po regarding ang sitwasyon or latest developments tungkol kay Senator Jinggoy Estrada. Hold on po, nandito yan po. Let me read you this story. Alright. Okay, sandali po ha. Let me share, look for the itong balita po. Nandito na yan kanina, I prepared. Alright. And itong balita po, ang title is Sandigan orders Jinggoy arrest NU over graft. Let's watch and listen carefully to the story or to the news article that I'm going to read for all of you po. Senator Jinggoy Estrada was once again ordered arrested by the Sandigan Bayan over graft charges. The Anti-Graft Court's Second Division issued the arrest warrant today po, May 29, against Estrada and former Department of Public Works and Highways Secretary Manuel Bonoan, both facing graft charges before the division. Estrada is also facing a separate plunder case over alleged 573 million pesos in kickbacks from infrastructure projects. Ito na po sa flood control projects. Assistant Ombudsman Miko Clavano said yesterday, May 28, that the Ombudsman recommended no bail for the plunder charges against Estrada. However, graft is bailable offense under the Philippine law with a bail set at 90,000 pesos. Estrada is on his way to Sandigan Bayan to pause the bail. Alright? Mayroon din sabihin natin pahayag si Secretary of Local Government Interior ang CIDG, si Secretary John Vic Remulla kay Senator Estrada. Let me share you with this share you this news about Interior Secretary John Vic Remulla kay Senator Jinggoy Estrada. Ito po, from John Vic to Jinggoy, ang advice niya po ni John Vic is surrender or face arrest. Surrender or face arrest. Interior Secretary John Vic Remulla said he has offered Senator Jinggoy Estrada two options. Dalawang options na po. Two options. To surrender or be arrested. But the senator held off on a decision due to a knee he says needs surgery. Remulla, Secretary of the Department of Interior and Local Government or DILG, said he placed the call himself yesterday, kahapon po, at 4 p.m. He called Senator Jinggoy Estrada po regarding the issue. I told him, sabi ni John Vic, I told him either surrender or arrest. He said he think about it. Sabi daw ni Jinggoy, he will think about it. He said in a chance interview kaninang umaga po sa mga local media po. And his concern is his knee, which needs a knee replacement. Yun daw po, concern si Senator Jinggoy Estrada po. May problema siya sa knee niya po. Remulla said, he told the senator that was not something the department could weigh on. So I told him, that's not the issue. It's beyond our jurisdiction. We have nothing more to say. The DILG chief said he's waiting on the Sandigan Bayan before carrying out an arrest. The Sandigan Bayan is the court that handles graft and corruption cases against public officials, and an arrest would be carried out by the Philippine National Police, which the DILG oversees. Remulla's remarks come a day after the Office of the Ombudsman filed plunder and graft charges against Estrada before the Sandigan in connection with the flood control project scandal. He is accused of pocketing 573 million pesos in illicit payouts tied to illegal budget insertions in the Department of Public Works and Highways. So, yon po. Yon po ang latest updates natin tungkol sa kaibigan natin, ang senador natin po, si Jinggoy Estrada. Na? And he's on the way. At 2 o'clock po, ang latest updates na rinig ko po is on the way dyan po sa Sandigan Bayan to pay his bail. This is not yet the plunder case, no? Graph charges lang ito po, which is bailable, and he's on the way to pay the 90,000 pesos bail for a temporary freedom po, no? Freedom. Wala pang kaso, wala pang kaso, plunder case si Senator Jinggoy Estrada. Senator Jinggoy Estrada. And let's see po, what will happen tomorrow ba or on Monday. Medyo maingay ang Senado sa Monday. Anyway, let me share with you po ang video clip. Mayroon tayong dito video clip ng interview ang local media kay Secretary John Vic yesterday regarding the call he made to Senator Jinggoy Estrada about the cases to be filed against him po, no? And about the arrest warrant, warrant of arrest. Nandito yan po ang video clip, and of course, the video clip that I'm going to share with you po, nandyan na po even ang interview ng mga local media dyan po sa Manila, sa mga talk shows nila po, si Assistant Ombudsman Clavano. And he's talking about the issue of plunder, the issue of malversation cases against mga senators natin po, especially Senator Jinggoy Estrada, Senator Chis Escudero, and others po. And on the updates regarding the updates or developments dyan po sa department niya po ang ombudsman. Ombudsman. Let's watch and listen to ito po. Itong video clip that I'm going to share with you. Sandali po. Medyo maingay ang interview ni John Vic, kasi siguro open space ito po, but pasensya lang po. I'm sorry, but anyway, I still want to share with you this sabihin natin video clip, and to be followed by Assistant Ombudsman si Clavano po, Let's watch and listen to this. Hold on lang po. Sandali lang po. So, hold on. Alright, nandito. Let's watch and listen to this. Okay, sandali.
Kay Jinggoy, Senator Jinggoy Estrada,
Yung recommendation po ng DOJ na na-receive ho natin last week ay plunder. Ang Office of the Ombudsman naman po ay gagawa ng isang independent na evaluation of the complaint. Dahil yung expertise po kasi ng Office of the Ombudsman ay corruption and graft kasama na din po dyan ang plunder. So, i-review, titingnan kung okay na sa kanila kasi sa Sandigan Bayan po kasi ang Office of the Ombudsman lang ang may standing So, kailangan yung taya, kailangan aralin talaga din para confident sila or kung maging confident sila, kaya nilang ipaglaban sa Sandigan Bayan.
Ang plunder ngayon, May nasampahan ba ng plunder ngayon among the politicians o si...
Hindi pa po. Kagaya po ng explanation po kasi ni Ombudsman, nung pumasok po kami, ang temperature po ni Ombudsman kasi noon ay ayaw niya mag-file ng plunder dahil napakahirap na po mag-convict sa plunder dahil sa sobrang daming jurisprudence na ang dami ng requirement bigla. No? So, although as the days went on, tsaka pinapag-usapan po yung pwedeng kasuhan given yung evidence po na nakikita po namin, ang naging direction na po ngayon is maybe we can give a chance to revisit itong plunder doctrines natin. Kasi iba na po yung ngayon panahon ngayon. I guess also with the advent of social media na nakikita po natin lahat at mas aware po ang mga tao sa mga nangyayari. Yung temperature or yung atmosphere po ay siguro sa tingin po ni Ombudsman ay ripe na po para i-revisit itong mga medyo maharang sa pag-convict ng plunder.
Yung kay... Totoo ba yun? Meron ng kaso din si former Senate President Jesus Escudero?
Sir Alvin, actually, nung last week, na-announce ko na yun. Actually, na dumating na po sa punto ng preliminary investigation.
Okay.
Yung proseso po kasi doon, pag tapos na po yung fact-finding namin, maghahain na po yan ng complaint. Dito pa rin sa office namin, pero sa preliminary investigation team.
Okay.
Pagdating po sa team na yon, tsaka namin papasagutin po yung respondent. So, nandun na tayo sa puntong yun. Ang pabas ho ata kahapon ay yung counter-affidavit niya. Yung part
So, sumagot na siya?
Sumagot na po siya.
Pero actually, hindi yun bago kasi nabanggit mo na ikaw mo a few weeks ago.
Last week po,
Last
nabanggit
week,
ko na po
okay.
na umakit na po sa punto ng preliminary investigation.
So, technically, hindi mo pa siya pwedeng masabing may kaso. It's just a complaint, right? It becomes a case once it's elevated to the Sandigan Bayan.
Well, in the loose sense, case na rin siya kasi may complaint po.
Okay.
Pero ito po yung parte ng due process na tinatawag natin kasi papasagutin pa po natin siya.
Pero pwede...
Alright, yun po, narinig niyo po ang video clip. Firstly, it was Secretary John Vic Remulla, and the second one was the Assistant Ombudsman, si Attorney Jose Clavano IV, no? The fourth po. So, klarong-klaro, he mentioned that so far, plunder cases, wala pa po, no? Sa mga politicians that includes si Jinggoy Estrada. In other words, si Jinggoy Estrada, sa other cases sa korte po, he can pay the bail for temporary freedom po, no? Temporary freedom, of which at the 2 p.m. we were made to understand, or I was made to understand, based on the monitoring I'm doing dyan po sa Pilipinas, he was on the way. Siguro by this time, na tapos na po, he already paid his 90,000 pesos bail for a temporary freedom po, no? So let's see what will be the updates tomorrow and on Monday, especially next week po, particularly Monday, because expected to have another fireworks na naman po dyan sa Senado, no? Sa Senado. Okay, this time around, I would like to share with you po, no? Ang mga reaction statements made by very known, respectable also po media personality. And of course, she's also a well-respected political analyst, strategist po. And very vocal when it comes to protecting and bringing up these issues about the corruptions of politicians natin po. And of course, ang issue talaga, the present issue ng Senado po, no? What is happening in the Senate, in the Congress, or the political scenario natin dyan po sa Pilipinas, saka ang sitwasyon ng gobyerno. And I'm referring to no less than to Professor Malu Tequia po. Mayroon tayo dito video clip, and I will share with you this video clip po, which I believe kailangan din po, na? So you will have an idea. Mga interviews ito po sa kanya sa mga talk shows, political talk shows dyan po sa Pilipinas yesterday. If I'm not mistaken, this was yesterday. Nandito po, let's watch and listen to the interview of Professor Malu Tequia, made by The Spokes. The Spokes, it's a talk show touching on politics po. Touching on politics. Let's watch and listen to this video clip para sa inyong lahat po so that you will have an idea, no? Kung ano talaga ang what is happening dyan po sa Pilipinas. Nandito. Let's watch and listen to this.
Sa ano,
Okay. Alam mo yan, magaling ang ginawa nila. It defined the Senate and the impeachment court. Okay? Having said that, there were already attempts to remove Senate President Soto. Again, ang hindi napapag-usapan, and I'd like to appeal to the better senses of these legislators, they were not happy with Soto. I mean, they should tell the public why. Because tayo, nagsa-second guess lang tayo eh. Ano ba talaga nangyari? And then, we know for a fact that Legarda and Cayetano were the two, Legarda coming from the other side.
Yes.
Cayetano is with the minority. They were the two options. Legarda was tried. Kaso, natunugan. At nung natunugan, ang excuse na lang, hindi, towards the end, bibigyan ka namin ng chance maging Senate President dahil ikaw ang unang babae. Insulto naman yun sa kababaihan na parang pag palapit na sa end, doon bibigyan ka namin, no? And then, maingay yun eh, kasi maraming nakaalam. Ang hindi alam ng public, there was the other option, which is Cayetano. And Cayetano was quiet throughout all, no? Noong nag-decide sila, sa tingin ko ang shocking doon, hindi nila alam na si Bato will be there. Ang traditional way of removing a sitting Senate President was presenting him with a resolution.
Okay.
Na ito, nakapirma na. In the 19th and 20th Congress, hindi na yan napapractice. Basta aakyat lang, sasabihin, yung nangyaring change kay from Subiri to Escudero, sinabi na may boto na ako, walang presenting na at officially, pag tinignan mo ang records ng Senado, walang resolution.
Yes.
Ang nagbago, nung nag-motion si Joel, si Senator Villanueva ng all seats vacant,
Yes.
sabi ko, seryoso ito. Kasi hindi ka mag-all seats vacant kung hindi mo mahuhold yung majority. Because that means the chairs.
Yes.
And then when Senator Marcos was the one who nominated, sabi ko, matindi ang hawak nito.
Okay.
Ibig sabihin, kahit hindi sila nag-present ng resolution, may isang trump card, which was Senator Bato. So they were surprised that he was there. And if you review the record, sinabi rin ni Senate President at then Senator Cayetano, hindi ako nakaakyat, hindi ko nasabi sa'yo, kay Senator Soto, kasi may security implication. That was Senator Bato. So, for Senator Bato to be there, and hindi lang issue ng minority, may tatlo naman kasing tumawid. Yun yung shocking, no? May tatlong tumawid, at sa tingin ko yung tatlong yun, hindi naman babalik dun sa minority. So, it was surprising in the sense that nobody knew. Nobody was talking.
Yes.
The usual suspects na may asset, may nagsabi, were all quiet. So the weekend before that Monday, I was so surprised. Why is everyone quiet? But I didn't know. I didn't know. I was also surprised when I heard, si Cayetano na Senate President. Paano nangyari yun? So I went back to the feed of the Senate, and so it was Senator Marcos who nominated. So for me, that is telling. And for Bato to be there is also telling.
You that the Senate President is a lawyer. Kasi in the past, like sila Cablas Oples, sila Manny Villar, Mig Subiri, they were not lawyers.
Alam mo really, why is a lawyer important? Because the Senate will be an impeachment court. It's very hard for a non-lawyer to be able to render and dig deep from the jurisprudence. Napakahirap nun.
Baka maging issue na naman yung sinabi ni Senator Marcoleta about you not having any legal background.
Yun naman, kasi, alam mo, ang deliberative body, whatever, is governed by rules. So, tamang interpretation ng rules. Kita mo yung dalawa, sabi Section 139, yung isa Section 64. Magkaiba. So, makikita mo dun, kaya lumabas yung issue na hindi yan between special law and general. So, statutory construction yun eh. Ay, ilan sa atin ang train sa statutory construction? So, may advantage ang lawyer, lalo na sa pagde-debate, may advantage ang non-lawyer sa substantive. Policy-wise, when you talk of poverty, you talk of economics, experiences, yun yung carry over. But when it comes to rules, talaga buti nga wala na dyan si Senator Santiago. Si Senator Santiago, pag siya ang nag-question sa'yo at non-lawyer ka, medyo tatahimik ka na lang kasi talagang tinitingnan siya as a person who is very, very foundational, which means governed by rules.
That on May 13, that the Senate was under attack.
Oo. My statement was it was under siege. Because you don't enter the Senate just because somebody told you to arrest someone. The Senate, di ba, tripartite, okay, interdependent. Pag linusog mo ang Senado, binabiolate mo yung Republican nature ng ating gobyerno. And then, if you are there to serve a notice, it has to follow the protocol, which is sabihin mo kay Senate President, pag-usap kayo, apparently there was a miscommunication there kasi nakapasok because of Senator Soto. Tapos ang sinabi ni Senator Soto, you take it up with the OSA. So hindi ko alam kung ano dun yung totoo. But the fact that you were there and you were serving a notice without passing to the change in leadership, may problema yon. And then when you, nung binugbog yung OSA, sa tingin ko yun ang direct intrusion ng NBI sa Senado. Kasi yung OSA tao ng Senado. At hindi mo naman pwedeng gawin yun kahit na, di ba, prevent ang buong OSA to help him. So yun ang nawawala, ang tinitingnan, sinong bumarel, yung warning. I don't relish seeing a group of legislators walking out.
Really?
The tradition has always been, there was a time the minority was just JPE and Erap Estrada, and they, fought it out, stayed on the floor and debated. Walking out is not healthy for a democracy. Walking out on a procedural question is really, sabi ko nga, para mga bata, no? Na hindi nyo nagustuhan yung the way the debate was going on, you just decided, and on cue, they just decided, you saw Senator Subiri telling everyone, let's move. And this is not good because the debate was essentially a motion by Marcoleta on whether the use of online tools can be used. But there was not yet a debate.
Yes.
It was just it was just breaking the House so that they can vote whether there should be a debate on the motion. So I really didn't understand what happened.
I think, Prof, that is exactly the point, no? Why they walked out. Kasi nga, ang sinasabi nila, parang wala nang debate, na dapat may debate, and they wanted to divide the House right away. No? Parang in a way, minamadali kasi nila yung proceeding, and that's the reason why I think they got frustrated, and in their defense, they're saying that they're trying to uphold the integrity of the Senate.
No, that's not upholding the integrity. That's putting down the institution by itself by walking out, At saka yung procedural doon, they were debating on the procedure of whether they should vote
Or it should go back to committee.
Oo. Kasi ang ginagawa nila before was to file resolutions in the case of Trillanes and De Lima, they filed resolutions and then they put it on the floor. Ito, ang ginawa ni Senator Marcoleta was to amend the rules.
Yes.
Kasi if you will not amend the rules, every time there is an issue, you will have to go pass a resolution.
Yes.
Mas kwan pa yun, mas partisan. Kasi kung titingnan mo sino ang nag-file ng kay Trillanes, sino ang nag-file kay De Lima, mga kakampi. Ang akin lang, talagang rule naman yung pag hindi kayo nag-agree, you break the house by voting. And that's the only way deliberative body can make decisions. If there is no agreement, if there is no unanimity, then we break the house and vote accordingly. Mabait pa nga eh. Kasi naandun pa si Senator Soto representing the minority and the 13.
Yes.
So technically, if the majority wanted to railroad as the minority is claiming, they could have voted.
Yes.
Diba? Pero ang sinabi ni Senate President Cayetano, we will move the discussion of this on Monday. Monday ba?
Yes,
Or
Monday at 5
Monday
p.m.
at 5 p.m. So, kitang-kita mo na walang railroading, and there were 3 adjectives that were used that were really foul. Yung kay Senator Pangilinan, kay Senator Lacson, at saka kay Senator Soto.
May tulpo pa.
May tulpo pa. Pero yun, off the field kasi hindi naman
We were talking about remote participation yan.
Yeah.
Yun nyo dun sa proposal ni Senator Marcoleta about allowing the participation remotely.
That, alam mo really, yung that should be given to all, not to those who have problems. That is why the motion to amend the rules is really on point.
Yes.
Because it's for everyone. It's not for specific. Pag tinignan mo yung resolution ni De Lima at ni Trillanes, specific yun sa kanila. So what Marcoleta was doing was amending the rules for everyone. Do I agree with
regardless of the issue?
regardless of the issue, regardless of the personality, am I for it? Certainly. Because these days, doesn't happen only here in the Philippines. In the U.S., remote participation is allowed. And in fact, remote participation has even an impact on quorum calls. Sa US, hindi na kailangan physically nandun ka. Kahit nasa opisina ka, meron silang thumb card na nagpapakita na present ako, nandito ako sa Capitol.
Premises, yes.
Oo. So, we should disabuse ourselves from viewing it as really particularly to one person, but more of the institution.
Alright, yun po, narinig natin na si Professor Malu Tiki on the several issues in the Philippines po, no? Like for example, on the siege of the Senate earlier, last week, if I'm not mistaken, is it last week or 2 weeks ago? There was a siege, there was an attack wherein the NBI agents went inside the premises of the Senate and tried to arrest si Senator Bato de la Rosa based on the International Criminal Court arrest warrant po. And because of that, there was a shooting. And of course, something happened. It was reported there was injured. There was injuries inflicted to one of the sergeant at arms of the Senate. No? He was beaten up by the agents of the National Bureau of Investigation. And of course, Malu Tiki also mentioned about the amendment motion made by Senator Rodante Marcoleta on this remote participation in the session in the Senate po, of which she said na even in America or United States of America, it is already accepted po, no? Remote participation in sessions. And come to think of it, the lower house in the Philippines or the House of Representatives, they are also doing it. They accept the remote participation po. And that is the reason why si Senator Rodante Marcoleta is proposing a motion. Not the, let's say, not because of Senator Bato de la Rosa, not because of the impeachment of Inday Sara Duterte, no? But it is for everybody. In the event that you are hospitalized and you authored a bill, you authored a bill, and it so happened during the deliberation of the bill which you authored, and you are confined in the hospital, for example. Now, you will be allowed to participate because, one, you are the author of the bill. In the event that you are outside the country, attending official function, but it is very important for you to also participate in the deliberation dyan po sa Senado, especially in the voting process. Then, Marcoleta was saying, why don't we allow? Why don't we allow? But the other camp, the minority bloc, was saying, they said the majority bloc, they are pushing for the amendment because of the impeachment of Inday Sara Duterte. Inday Sara Duterte, and of course because of to maintain the leadership of or to secure the protect and secure the leadership of newly elected Senate President Alan Peter Cayetano, Alan Peter Cayetano po, But when we talk about impeachment of Inday Sara Duterte, I don't think so po. Based on the present situation, because it is also a game of numbers in the impeachment, The conviction or acquittal of Inday Sara Duterte, the outcome of this impeachment trial, will not only be based on the evidences po. It is a political maneuvering, political maneuvering, wherein those who got the number, because you need a total of 16 votes to convict Inday Sara Duterte in the impeachment trial. But if you look at the situation now, they won't be able to get that 16. It is very impossible. No matter what they do, no matter what they will file cases, plunder cases against these senators identified supporting Inday Sara Duterte or the Duterte's campo, they won't be able to get that 16 votes po. 16 votes. It is very impossible. But anyway, let's see what will happen. Let's see what will happen po. Let's see what will happen. So that's the latest update sa mayroon tayo tungkol sa, sabihin natin, what is happening dyan po sa Pilipinas. Dyan po sa Pilipinas. Okay, President Ferdinand Marcos is now in Japan. And during his arrival, he was met with the Filipinos, the Filipino community. Unfortunately, he was not given a red carpet welcome by the Filipino community. Let's watch and listen this video po. Report ito from Japan. From Japan by the SMNI media outlet po. Andito ang report. Please watch and listen to this.
Ayusin ng flood control projects at panawagan para sa
Hold on. Okay. Nandito, let's watch and listen to this video clip in Japan.
Ayusin ng flood control projects at panawagan para sa transparency ang pangunahing agenda ng isang lawful assembly na inorganisa ng ilang Filipino groups dito sa Japan. Isinagawa ang aktibidad kasunod ng pagdating ni Pangulong Marcos Jr. para sa isang official visit. Hindi Ipinalagpas ng mga Pinoy sa Tokyo ang pagkakataon para iparating ang kanilang galing sa pamahalaan ng Pilipinas. Lalo pat nasa Japan ngayon si Philippine President Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. para sa isang 4-day state visit. Sa peaceful protest, kinontra ng Filipino community ang napabalitang pagsulong ng Constitutional Assembly o CONAS para sa term extension ng kasalukuyang administrasyon, bagay na naunang inilahad ni Senator Amy Marcos. Sinisigil din ng mga Pinoy ang resulta ng flood control investigation. Karamihan kasi sa mga dumalo sa mapayapang protesta ay mula sa mga lugar sa Pilipinas kung saan palpak ang flood control projects.
Sobra na po, BBM. Ang flood control na ninanakaw nyo. Ibalik nyo na po. Sobra-sobra na po ang paghihirap. Marami na pong namatay.
Ikinababahala rin ng mga Pinoy ang pagbabalik ng illegal na droga sa Pilipinas. Hindi raw kasi malakas ang anti-drug efforts ng Marcos Jr. government.
Ang legacy ni tatay, no drugs, no corrupt, pero lahat binalik mo lahat. Yan ngayon. Sobrang paghihirap na ng bansa. Stress na po kami dito sa Japan dahil nagpapadala po kami ng pera sa Pilipinas at walang nangyayari.
Sa pagpunta ni PBBM sa Japan ay lumabas ang resulta ng SWS survey kung saan naitala ang negative 15 net satisfaction ratings nito. Kaya ayon kay former Undersecretary Lorraine Badoy, nakakahiya ang pagbisita ni PBBM sa Japan.
Kakahiya. That's how I feel. Kaya and pumaharap siya sa isang gobyerno na napakaayos, no? Isang gobyerno na may dangal, isang gobyerno na hindi nagnanakaw sa mga mamamayan nila at saka talagang nagsisilbi. Haharap siya sa isang prime minister na mahal ng mga Hapon, tapos siya ang trust rating niya -15.
Patid rin daw ng mga Pilipino dito sa Japan ang pagkakaiba sa reception ni PBBM at ni former President Rodrigo Duterte. Parehas daw nasaksihan ng Japan Philcom ang pagtanggap kay Marcos at FPRRD na dumalo sa bansang Hapon noong 2017.
Nakakahiya, no, na yan ang hinaharap na mukha ng Pilipino, a person na alam ng buong mundo of ill repute, mapangit ang reputasyon. At nahihiya ako bilang Pilipino nung si PRRD yung pumupunta dito, ano siya, well accepted, highly respected, is beloved by the Japanese people and highly respected by the Japanese leaders, by the Prime Minister, si Shinzo Abe at the time.
Samantala, para sa Japanese UN Human Rights Advocate na si Shunichi Fujiki, mas marami ng mga Hapon ngayon ang nakakaalaman sa tinawag niyang political persecution kay dating Pangulong Duterte. Si Duterte ay nakakulong ngayon sa ICC sa The Hague, Netherlands dahil sa kasong crimes against humanity, bunsod ng kanyang war on drugs.
We are giving a lot of information in different directions. So probably the government will hear about that. So they are now trying to hear more than before. So this humanitarian ground, yes, is very advanced and also physically is getting worse than before. So we need to save him in some way.
Patuloy din ang panawagan ni Mr. Fujiki sa ICC na pagbigyan ng hiling na interim release ni FPRRD at dalhin ito sa Japan para magpagamot. Magpapatuloy rin daw ito ng makipagtulungan sa Filipino community sa Japan para ipaabot sa gabinete, mga mambabatas at sa mismong Prime Minister ng Japan ang kaso ni FPRRD.
I have been talking with some of the politicians about this issue, and they are very much interested to hear about the issue.
Binigyan din ng mga organizer ng layunin ng kanilang peaceful assembly ay hindi ang manggulo, kundi ang paghingi ng malino na sagot sa mga tanong na bumabagabag para sa karamihan ng Pilipino. Mula din sa Tokyo, Japan, guys, na ito nag-uulat para sa Diyos at sa Pilipinas kung bahala. SMNI News.
Alright, that's exactly what happened in Japan. A peaceful rally carried out by the Filipino community upon the arrival of President Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. It was a bad image for the Filipinos po, no? During the time of former President Rodrigo Roa Duterte, when he visited Japan, you can see how Filipinos welcome Tatay Digong. But this time around po, it's the opposite. And I, for one, would say, I'm ashamed what is happening now in the Philippines. If I'm not mistaken, based on my own experience po, in Malaysia, Filipinos are proud during those days of Tatay Digong po. And I can hear, or we heard, a lot of locals or Malaysians here po, they're very happy with what is happening in the Philippines during the time of former President Rodrigo Roa Duterte and Filipinos here are very proud of ourselves because of a very, very positive reputation that we are enjoying during the time of Tatay Digong. Unfortunately, now, whether we like it or not, when I meet my friends, Malaysian friends po, I feel ashamed because of what is happening in the Philippines because of the flood control projects. President Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos, based on the trust rating survey published just 2 days ago, from 3% negative, now it went down to negative 15. Negative 15 po. It's very sad story for the Philippines po. So siguro hanggang dito na lang muna ang sabihin natin na Nick Talk, the Real Talk with Nico. Let us all pray that our leaders, senators, congressmen, other politicians, top government officials or officials in government departments and agencies, including the private sector po, will realize the present situation in the Philippines, and we will be able to find it. So we already know the problem. We have identified the problem. Unfortunately, we are still trying to identify the right solution to the problem. Let's all pray po that we will be able to solve our problem in the Philippines po as soon as possible. Not only for us, overseas Filipino workers, but also for the good of everybody. For the Filipinos, for ang bayan natin po, which we say, bayan nating Pilipinas. So with this, once again, si Nico Fabian would like to say, enjoy kayo po this Saturday and Sunday this weekend, non-working days natin po. Spend the time together with our families and have a good rest so that we'll be ready for a brand new, expensive, exciting week po. Expensive, why? Because we can see the essential goods, the cost of living in the Philippines po is getting worse because of no political stability, no economic stability, and we don't have stable peace and order. So with this, Nico Fabian would like to say thank you very much for making me a part of your day-to-day. Hidup Malaysia! Sababole! Mabuhay ang Pilipinas! And peace on earth. Bye! I love you and I'll see you in my next episode.